Hey guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a try a chapter book tag with all of the books that are on my Romanceathon TBR because I am just too excited to read these books and I wanted to get a little taste of each of them and try to figure out which one of them I want to read first because Romanceathon is getting so close, it's only a couple of days away. I wasn't sure which book I was planning on starting with and I just wanted to get a little taste of the writing style for each of these and let you know what my thoughts are on these first chapters so far. So I'm going to be reading the first chapter of 6 books. The first one is going to be A 5-Minute Life by Emma Scott. The next one is going to be On the Island by Tracy Garbus Graves. This one is our buddy read. Next one will be Hate Notes by Vi Kaland and Penelope Ward. The next one is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. Next up we have Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. And then lastly we have The Friendzone by Abby Jimenez. So yeah, I'm going to be reading the first chapter of each of these and then coming back and letting you know my thoughts. I think I'm going to start with A 5-Minute Life because this one is the longest first chapter out of all of them and it has a prologue, so this one's about 20 pages for the first chapter in the prologue, so I'm going to start with the longest one and then I'll just make my way through the rest of them, so check back in with you later. Alright, I finished the first chapter in the first 20 pages of A 5-Minute Life. This book starts with this very sad prologue of the car accident happening. If you didn't know what this book is about, it's about this girl who has a 5-minute memory, and so that's it's like a 51st Dates kind of vibe, I guess. So she only has a 5-minute long memory span before she forgets everything again, and so the prologue of this book is kind of showing you how that happened, I guess. So it's showing the car accident that happened. She was with her parents. And then the first chapter is told from the male love interest's point of view, and he is going on a job interview at this place where these people who have really bad brain injuries are recovering. It's like a recovery center, and then he's kind of talking about his childhood and how he was raised in foster care and how he's always had a issue with stuttering. And so I feel like already these characters are being very fleshed out, and at the end of this first chapter he meets Thea, our main girl character, and they meet and talk for a few seconds, and then she forgets who he is and starts to panic and freak out, and he doesn't know what's going on and he didn't realize that she was a resident. This is already so good and I freaking love Emma Scott's writing so much. She just writes such real people, you know what I mean? People that have been through hardships, and I just love her writing style so much, so this is definitely a contender of one that I might want to read first. Oh my god, I love it. Right, the next one I read the first chapter of is The Friendzone by Abby Jimenez, and this one, all I know about this book, description wise, is that it's about this girl who gets stuck in the friend zone, and she's going to be getting this surgery that's gonna make her not be able to have kids. And that's really all I know about this book going into it. The first chapter was told from his point of view though, and it also strangely starts with a car accident. But this one was a lot less severe of a car accident. It was more just a bump in the parking lot, to be honest, and then he hits her car. At least I think it's the girl that he hit her car. She gets super mad and saying it's her friend's truck that she's borrowing, and she just spilled coffee all up in his truck, and he's apologizing. I don't know, if that was the girl that's the main love interest, I can sense some hate to love vibes happening. So I don't know, this was okay so far. This was a okay first chapter, I guess. But I'm still really, really excited to read this one during the Romanceathon. I might still start with this one just because the hype for this one is pretty high. So next first chapter I read was Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy, and all I really knew about this book going into it is that it's a male-male romance, but after reading this first chapter I'm not quite sure if it is a male-male romance, because this first chapter follows this guy named Keaton who's been dating this girl for 6 years, and she said that she wants to have a threesome with him and another guy, and he doesn't know if he's up for that, and he's just this guy that's in this frat house. I think it mentioned that he's running for frat president or something, and so he's looking up porn for one girl and 2 guys when they're having sex, and he mentions that he's dreamt of being with a guy before and that he never told his girlfriend that or whatever. So maybe it is male-male romance, but I'm starting to get vibes this might be a male-female-male romance, a 3-person thing, which is what unexpected for sure. But But then the next chapter is told from one of the guys at his frat house, Luke. So I'm thinking that it's just gonna be this romance between him and one of the guys at the frat house. But I'm thinking, like, from the back, I think it's like an anonymous thing that they get in touch. So I'm thinking it's gonna be one of those things where they don't know it's actually each other in real life. And they're gonna be talking online and like falling in love online and then meeting in real life and realizing it's each other. And I think it's gonna be really cute. Like, I don't know. But like, so far it's okay. I'm not like a huge fan of like frat house guys, you know, because like they're kind of obnoxious, I think, but I'm really interested to see where this goes and I'm still excited to read it, so yeah. The next first chapter I read was Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, and this one, it follows this guy who was like a super big Major League Baseball player, but he had to retire early at 28 because of a very severe injury that ended his career. And so now he's like back in his hometown, and our main character girl, Georgette, is like childhood friends with him because he is her brother's best friend growing up, I guess. So she kind of like knows him, but she also mentions how she had like the biggest crush on him and like she's like been in love with him since like forever. This book is written in third person, which I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to romance novels because I really like reading in first person in a romance novel, but this one's written in third person, which is fine. In this first chapter, she just goes into his apartment or his house or whatever, and he's like passed out, like naked, and I think he's like drunk, like passed out from being drunk, and she's like, you need to get your shit together, like it's been over a month since you've had to retire, like you need to get it together and start doing something with your life and whatever. And I was like, whoa, like I just didn't realize like they were like that close. I don't know, like when I read the description of this book, to me it made it sound like he was just kind of like her brother's best friend and she wasn't really as involved, but like she's just over there like by herself, like telling him what to do. But this feels very like hate to love to me so far, which I like. And I do like, I love baseball players. I have a thing for baseball players, so that's the main reason why I'm still really excited to read this one. But I don't know, I feel like okay about the first chapter. Like, I don't know, it was alright. Next up we have Hate Notes by Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward, and this first chapter was really short. It follows this girl named Charlotte who's returning her wedding dress. She's trying to get a refund on her wedding dress and she's returning it to the store where she got it because her fiance was a cheating son of a bitch, quote. And so while she's like trying to get a refund on it, she's like looking through the other dresses that they have, and they end up telling her that she can't get a refund on it, like she can only get store credit. And she finds this dress that has this really beautiful love note in it from Reed Eastwood. She said, "Forgive me for being a dreamer," and he took her by the hand and replied, "Forgive me for not being here sooner to dream with you." And she's like, wow, this is like romance. And so she gets the dress that was the dress with a cute note on the inside. And so I'm assuming this guy Reed is our male love interest because that's usually how these things work. But I don't know, it's super cute so far. I love the writing style. I always love Vi Keeland's writing style. This one sounds like it's just gonna be that fun new adult romance vibes that I love to read. So really excited to read this. Right, and the last one that I just read is On the Island, and like, oh my gosh, you guys, this first chapter is so fucking intense. If you didn't know what this book was about, it's basically a very forbidden romance between a 30-year-old woman and a 16-year-old boy. And I'm pretty sure this book spans like many years, but that's where our story begins. Like literally this first sentence just says, "I was 30 years old when the seaplane TJ Callahan and I were traveling on crash landed into the Indian Ocean. TJ was 16 and 3 months into remission from Hodgkin's lymphoma. The pilot's name was Mick, but he died before we hit the water." And like, oh my god, like this first chapter is like about the plane crash. Like they're on this plane and then the pilot starts to have a heart attack and like dies, and they're like freaking out because the plane is like in midair, and then the plane just crashes and the book begins. And I'm like, what the heck? It's just so intense so far. Like that first chapter had me like shook, and like I didn't realize that the male love interest in this book, like TJ, has been suffering from lymphoma. Like that's, oh my gosh. Yeah, so I had no idea about that. So that kind of also makes me very interested in reading this as well. And like, God, this first chapter was just like so good and so gripping, and like the writing, it was like so intense. And I like this main female character. She seems very like wise and like she knows what she's doing, and like that's what I like about reading characters that are like 30 or like in their 30s. It's just they seem to come off as more like they got their shit together and know what they're doing. I'm just so curious about this romance. Like, I'm so curious, like, how does it even begin? Like, I'm sure it's like one of the most slow burn romances ever, but it's also like probably one of those things where tragedy really like brings people together, you know, which I love. Can't wait to read it because I love books with like island vibes and stuff. It also does look like there's some chapters from his point of view. It looks like it goes back and forth, which is another one of my fave things in a romance. So, really excited to read this one. Like, I might start with this one. I don't know. Alright, so out of these 6, I think my personal favorite first chapters are definitely A 5-Minute Life and On the Island. I think these by far had the most intriguing beginnings to a romance. I'm like definitely hooked on these, which is good because this is our buddy read, so I really want to enjoy this one. These books are great, so I'm probably either going to start with one of these two, or I might start with the Friendzone just out of curiosity because I just really want to read this one. And this one is getting all of the hype right now, but I know my girl Jacqueline just read this book and she didn't really enjoy it at the end of the day, so I'm even more curious kind of because of that. Yeah, that's where I'm standing. It's gonna be one of these 3 that I read first probably. But nonetheless, I am still very excited to read all of these books during Romanceathon. And if you're watching this video and you're like, what the heck is Romanceathon? What are you even talking about? I'll put the links in the description for my announcement video and my TBR video, even though you just saw my TBR in this video. And yeah, it starts on June 17th, Monday, and it goes through the end of the week, and we have all these challenges, and it's just gonna be a super fun time. And I'm gonna be vlogging the whole thing. Still haven't decided if I'm gonna vlog like half and half videos or just like one full long one. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching as always, and let me know what's on your TBR for Romanceathon, and what are your thoughts on any of these 6 books? Have you read them? Do you enjoy them? Let me know, and thanks so much for watching as always. I will see you guys soon with a new video.